Hello and good afternoon, lovely people. I was going to say good morning, but it is in fact not morning. It is the afternoon, 12 o'clock on this lovely bank holiday Monday. But don't worry about the fact it's a bank holiday. Don't worry about the fact that, there's no football today. So we had international football. We had no football for ages. Then we're back with a bang at the FA Cup. Back to today, no football again. But in the midweek, we will be back for more European football. So there's more football. It's coming. But don't worry, we've got it covered on Monday. And oh my goodness me, there's lots to talk about. I love it. And you know what? That is one of the best things about football. There is always something to talk about. There's always something going on. There is always tea to be spilled. I hope everyone had a very lovely weekend. I hope if you enjoy it, if you take part, that everybody enjoyed all of the chocolate eating. We'll all be going for a walk this afternoon to make ourselves feel a little bit better. But the good news is the clothes still fit. We can still fit into the clothes after eating all the chocolate. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about the chocolate or the Easter Bunny or anything else. We're here to talk about the football. But before we talk about the football, we're going to talk about the teacups. So I see Mama Flossie was in the house very early and she says, "Welcome to Lunchtime with Lou, live and direct from Teacup Castle." I love it. I'm genuinely going to call my house Teacup Castle, 100%. Rob is in the house. Welcome to Rob. We officially have 522 teacups. We have new people joining the teacup parade all of the time. Absolutely love it. And if anybody wants to be even more official, like the official kind of official, and wants to get a membership, you can now do that also on the channel, which is phenomenal. You will see our very lovely Mama Flossie and Rob. They've got their badges. And guys, I don't know if I told you this before, the badges change monthly. So the guys there, the badges they've got, it says new member. When they reach a month, so when they start their second month of membership, there's a new badge. I love it. Everybody's saying hi. The very lovely Shem is in the house with us. Shem is saying, "Good afternoon, Flossie, Rob. Hope you're doing well. Hello, lovely boss lady Lou. Hope you are happy and smiling today. And we hope that you are happy and smiling too, Shem." Let me see. Choppy is also in the house. Hope you are good, my friend. Paige is in the house saying, "Good afternoon, peeps." Please do remember to hit the like button on your way in for me, guys. It does help. Just let people know that you're enjoying the tea party and that they should also join. They should also join the Mad Hatter Tea Party. Shem, yes, 522 teacup cultists. Wow, one of us. Time to get a bigger compound. Well, I'll tell you who's not one of us, who is not a part of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, and that is Bernardo Silva. The news has come out as of 5 to 11 yesterday, but I didn't see it. But it's out now. I saw it this morning, and Pep Lijnders announced that, he confirmed that Bernardo Silva will leave Manchester City when his contract expires at the end of the season. Bernardo Silva is going to leave Manchester City on a free at the end of the season. Add this to the noise about Pep Guardiola, that he's going to be leaving, etc., and you start to look at, and I'm going to put the two together. So we talk often about Liverpool, okay, about how bad their season is, about how bad Slot is performing, and about all of the factors that have impacted that, such as losing players, obviously tragically like Jota, but also like Trent Alexander-Arnold, who also had a big impact then on how Salah played. Salah getting older, Van Dijk absolutely washed out. And you look at it, and then they change managers, and then the first season's okay, but then the new manager starts to put his stamp on things, and everything goes down the drain, okay? So we have to now start looking at Manchester City, who have had a long period of success, unfortunately for the rest of us. But Bernardo Silva, a key important player for them, someone I absolutely cannot stand, but isn't that the sign of a good player? When your rivals hate your player, isn't that the sign of why you love them so much? So losing the likes of Bernardo Silva, who will be a leader in their dressing room, absolutely 100%, who is a leader on the pitch for them, absolutely 100%, who is incredibly influential in terms of the way he carries himself, the way he is with their younger players or new players coming into their club, and also someone who's very talented on the pitch. Whether we like him or not, nobody can say he's not talented. So that is an enormous, enormous hole, and it's a big hole in a very important part of the pitch. Us at Manchester United, we know what it's like when you lose a player in that part of the pitch and you don't replace them. Not that you can replace Bernardo Silva like for like, the same as a Bruno, for example, but to get somebody else in their stead is very, very, very difficult. If they then do lose Pep Guardiola in the summer, as well as Bernardo Silva, could that just derail them? Or are they such a well-oiled machine, it actually won't impact them? That's what I am going to be waiting to see. But let's listen to the announcement in the first place. Although this is kind of afterwards, he's being asked about it. But first, you guys, lovely Lucky has joined us with Glazers Out. 100% every day, Lucky. Glazers Out. Absolutely. What else? Paige would say, bring me Bernardo to Barca. I mean, it's not crazy. And Rob Always United is saying Silva is a little rat. Rob is on the same page as me when it comes to Silva. Lucky is saying this is Newcastle, Arsenal and Manchester United's time to grow up the table and build a squad, with the potential downfall and unravelling of City and the continuing downfall and unravelling of Liverpool. So let us take a look at what Pep Lijnders had to say on the matter. Let me unmute him so you guys can hear him and play the video. Again, just let me know if you can't hear him, okay?
You never replace a player with the same kind of player because they don't exist. Bernardo Silva is unique. The way he controls games, the way he moves, the way he receives, the way he leads, the way he sees the solutions, all these things. So you never search for a replacement of one type of player. You search for what is needed to grow with the team and somebody who can fit in the first 11. And then you hope with our academy, with the young players we already bought, that they can make that step as well in the midfield positions. But if you see our young boys in the academy, then they have to make that step and to grow. Because, but the most important is that the seniors who stay for a long time, that they stay, that the core is there. And around that, you can move. But it will be hard because, how I said, in the game, when he's not playing, you will see how he's missed, and that's one game. Imagine a season. So, but every good story comes to an end, huh? And I hope he enjoys the last months, because only 6 weeks, and has a good farewell, and he deserves all that attention as well.
Now, and obviously you can see that Bernardo Silva was sitting next to him there in that press conference, but like full of praise, but mentioning all the things that I mentioned there, the leadership, the younger players looking to him, that you can't really replace a player like that, like for like, and you know, the difference it makes when he's missing even for a match. Imagine what it's going to be like now when it's a whole season. So they're already very much aware internally of the impact that this is going to have going forward. I see Dr. Tottenham Therapy has joined us in the house. Big up to Dr. Tottenham Therapy. And he is saying, please can United beat Leeds on Monday? Well, I'll tell you what, Dr. Tottenham Therapy, I also please hope that Man United can beat Leeds on Monday, because really and truly, if we can't, we're going to put ourselves in trouble in terms of the Champions League. I know some of the other teams are flagging a little bit, they're falling off a little bit, they're having their own problems, but That doesn't mean we should give them an opening. That doesn't mean that we should go, oh, well, if they're all in trouble, why don't we decide to have a crisis as well? No, we should make the most of it. We should take advantage of it. That's what we should be doing. So Dr. Tottenham therapy, I hope that we do beat them. But with United, there's absolutely no guarantees whatsoever. And Leeds might now be riding the high of the fact that they're going to Wembley. So we'll do our best. We'll do our best, but I can't make any promises for you. Flossie is saying the doctor is in the house. Yes, Lucky is saying Leeds did very well yesterday. They did. And Choppy says what baffles me is when they want Glazers out, the supporters still go to the games and buy merchandise. The fans ain't boycotting the Glazers. I think, and look, obviously I don't go to the games, I'm not in the country, but I think it's very hard to expect 80,000 people to boycott, because I think what happens is Manchester United is so big, and that's not like a flex thing. Manchester United is such a big global brand. If the locals or the people that have their season tickets don't attend, the tourists will come and attend. You are never going to empty Old Trafford. It is never going to happen. It sounds like a nice idea. It makes sense in theory. Hit them in their pocket. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. And you can think it's a great idea. You can support it. You can want it to happen. But it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. And I think, while I understand your point, Choppy, like how can you complain about them and then put money in their pocket? Makes total sense, your point. I also think it's such an emotional thing. You don't want to let people you dislike take away something you love. And that's the way a lot of people see it, is they hate the Glazers, but they don't want to let the Glazers take Manchester United away from them, because they loved the club before they ever even knew who the Glazers were. So I think it's very emotional and it's very personal. And I personally, while I completely understand your point, I'm not going to judge another fan for how they choose to deal with it, because I think it's very complicated. I think it's very complicated, and I think it's easy to look in and say, oh, well, that doesn't make any logical sense. But loving your club isn't logical. Football isn't logical. So I do understand kind of the other side of it as well. As I said, obviously I don't go, so I don't feel like I can judge somebody who's in that position, because I'm not in their position. I would like to say, well, I wouldn't go, but I mean, I don't know. So I'm not going to. Do you know what I mean? So I take your point completely, but I do think it's complicated. Dr. Tottenham Therapy says, it's got really sad that I'm begging the teams near the top to beat the teams near the bottom. Usually it's the other way around. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But look, sometimes that is the reality for us. We have to face it and move through it. Paige says, Leeds deserved the win yesterday. West Ham rolling on the pitch the entire game. I hope they go down. Paige is not holding back this morning. Lucky says, me and my friends boycott the club. We don't go anymore. I don't go anymore since Jose Mourinho. And you know, so there's a lot of fans like Lucky that don't. The problem is there's always people that step in. There's always people that step in. And you know what? Fair play to Lucky, because it's a big decision and it's a hard decision. It's a really hard decision. So fair play to Lucky and your friends for doing it, because it is massive. It's emotional. It's hard. You are making a personal sacrifice. So fair play to Lucky and your friends. Big up to you. Guys, I am actually going to be touching on the West Ham and the Leeds game. I did talk about it yesterday in my match reaction, but what is your take, before we move to that, we'll move to that next because it's what people are talking about, but what is your take on Bernardo Silva? What is your take on Bernardo Silva leaving at the end of the season on a free transfer? Do you think it's going to impact City next season? Do you think it's a sign that Pep is also going to go? The big players are leaving. It's because they know Pep is going. Do you think that it's a case of it might not go quite as badly as Liverpool, but that it might follow a Liverpool trajectory where, like, the manager leaves, they lose some big players? Man City next season might be unrecognisable if it does come to pass that Pep Guardiola also leaves? Or do you think the structure in Manchester City means it won't have as big of an impact as kind of what happened at Liverpool in recent seasons? What is your opinion? What do you think? Big deal, not a big deal? He knows something the rest of us don't. It's likely that Pep will follow. It can impact it the way they've impacted Liverpool. Let me know. Get your thoughts in, because I've given you mine. I've told you what I think. I've given you my theories. Yous all know I love to go down the rabbit hole. I love to have a wee theory. But let me know about your theories on Bernardo Silva leaving Manchester City, guys. Paige says, like Kevin De Bruyne, this will have a knock-on effect on City. Bernardo is a good player with lots of experience. 100%, 100%. Flossie says, glad he's going. He's been wanting to go to Barca for a while. Dirty little player. He is a dirty little player. He is. And do you know what? He'll probably suit a Spanish team, because they're quite like that, aren't they? Sorry to all the Spanish football people, but they are a bit like that. It's a bit dirty over there, like compared to here, although we're quite as bad now at the minute. Rob Rob has said City are doomed, Lou, with some celebration emojis. Oh, that's made me laugh. That's made me laugh. I can feel your disappointment through the screen, Rob. I can feel it, how sad you are for Manchester City. Doom. They're doomed, I tell you. Love it. Absolutely love it. That's giving me a giggle. Guys, that's good. It's something we're going to keep an eye on. Obviously, it's confirmed he's going. I'm more interested in what it means for them going forward, because I think there's more to it. I think it means Pep is going. I think it's just more and more signs that Pep is going. I think when the big players start to leave, the key players, the important players, I know he's getting on a bit in age, so maybe he would be going anyway, but I think when you see the big players like that kind of jumping ship just before the summer, it's because they know change is afoot, and Bernardo Silva probably feels like at his age he's not going to be a part of a new sort of project under a new manager, a new cycle, so it's time for him to go. So I'll be watching that just to see if it does mean that Pep is actually going to go. Obviously, it's all theories and everything, but isn't it fun? We love a wee theory, a wee conspiracy theory. Shem says, Enoch out, send Vinay, the Arsenal inside man, back to Woolwich. Choppy also says, I hope City are doomed. Paige says, thanks Lou, the Barca side in me just died a little bit. I have no doubt that when Guess watches this back later on, she will feel similarly to you, Paige. Now, she's a Madrid fan, she's a Madrista, but yeah, she'll also not be pleased about that. Lucky is saying, please leave not only Bernardo Silva, but also Marmoush. He wants Marmoush out as well. Fair enough. We can't argue with that, Lucky. But guys, you were talking there a little bit on the Leeds and West Ham match. Obviously, Leeds won in the end through penalties, but it was an incredible game the whole way through up to that. I did discuss on Disasi's goal, the second goal for West Ham that brought it to extra time and penalties, that I felt that there was a high boot, but some of you guys agreed with me, some of you guys didn't agree with me, some of you guys didn't see it, so you didn't feel that you could have an opinion on it. Obviously, it's hard from an image, but I did actually watch it live in real time, which is why I sort of felt strongly about it. We did have Dave Boy in the chat who didn't mind specifically because it was against Leeds. I'm not sure that's quite the kind of thing we're looking for. But I want to just show you the picture again, and then I want to get Hackett Ref. You know, I've been watching him a little bit lately, and obviously nobody's infallible, okay? Nobody gets the calls right 100% of the time, no matter who they are, what their former job was. It doesn't mean that everything Hackett Ref says is correct, but I do think he's a good guideline because he obviously knows the rules inside out, and he doesn't have a vested interest anymore because it's not his job. He's retired, essentially. So I do find it interesting what he says. So So I'm going to show you the picture again, then I'm going to play what he says, and then I'm going to actually look at what is the high boot rule. Because last night, some of you guys, I can't remember who it was it Sachin was saying, you know, why is it that this is a high boot and, you know, it shouldn't count, but it's okay if it's a bicycle kick, etc., etc. So I thought, you know what, really good question. Let's find out why. So I'm going to go into the rule itself. So we'll look at all of it kind of, I'm not going to just be saying the same things that we said last night. I want to go into it a little bit deeper. I've done some research since yesterday. I've got some extra information to bring you, which is obviously important. So let me show you again just the still, okay? This is the still. I'm showing you guys this one. Obviously I showed you the other angle last night from behind. His boot is really close to his head, okay? But this is a clearer picture, so that's why I'm showing you this one, okay? You can see how high the foot is here. It's really bloody high. It's at his head, okay? It's high. But obviously there's other factors that go into it. So we'll look at what Hackett ref has to say, and then we will look at the actual rule itself. But first, I saw a sneaky coming in there. Where is he? I've spotted him. Huge! T-Titan is in the house. Everybody bow down to the T-Titan. Good morning to Huge. Lucky says, the second goal, I think that was a high boot. His boot was near his eye. Yeah, 100%. That's where I feel. Paige says, from what I saw, Disasi hit Strick in the head. WWE's Sheamus would be proud. So this is the still, okay? You can see how high the boot was, but let us hear what Hackett ref has to say. And obviously he is the ex-PGMOL chief. Nobody's infallible. That doesn't mean everything he says is correct, but he has a pretty good idea. So obviously the footage isn't going to play. This is showing the still. You can see the other angle here just to see the closeness of the boot to the head. It's a little bit blurry, but it's not going to play so I won't get copyrighted. But let's listen, okay?
That the goal was allowed. It is evident that the player who scored came in with his boot at head level, endangering the safety of his opponent. At that point, the referee should have blown and ruled a goal out. VAR might have intervened to allow the referee to have a second look. Didn't happen. The goal was allowed to stand. Leeds have every right to complain. West Ham.
No, so that was pretty clear. And let's just think about what he said. Now, I see Choppy's comment there. Did the Leeds player come in on the blind side? No, you can see now this. As I said, the other image is much clearer, but this is probably a better angle to see how it happened. Disasi comes in behind the Leeds player, not the Leeds player coming into Disasi's space. It's the other way around. Now, like I said, it was a fantastic goal. At the time, I was glad it stood because it meant we got more football, and it didn't impact eventually the outcome because Leeds still won on penalties. However, if Leeds had gone out, I think this is the only thing that anybody else would be talking about, and I think it's important because I think it was dangerous. Excellent goal. I was glad for more football. It was great as a neutral, but if we're just looking at the rules, I can't understand how it wasn't put out. Let me see what you guys are saying, and then I'm going to read the actual rule, and that way that'll clear it up for us completely. Let me see. Yeah, so Lucky's saying, like, if he kicked him in the head there, that would be dangerous. Rob is saying, you were right, Lou, it's much too close for me. Big up to Billy, who has joined us. Welcome. Shem says, is anyone else watching Sky Sports and the really weird training session they're doing? What is that pens they're holding? No idea, Shem. No clue. I am just here with you guys. I have no TV in here, so I don't know what that is. Let me see. Let us go to the rule, though. So I just put, what is the high boot rule? Because that way it makes it very clear, okay? So the high boot rule or the high foot rule in football is technically categorised as playing in a dangerous manner. It occurs when a player raises their foot or studs at or above waist height near an opponent. potentially threatening injury. It is deemed a foul if it causes a player to flinch, avoid a header, or if contact was made. So if we look at it, it was definitely above waist height. We've got that tick in the box. It was very, very near to the opponent, as we've seen from those angles. So above waist height, near an opponent, and clearly it was threatening injury because of where it was. He could have taken an eye out. It is deemed a foul if it causes a player to flinch, avoid a header, or if contact is made. Now, I didn't see a flinch. It doesn't mean there wasn't one, but I didn't see it. They didn't head the ball, but I think that was because they couldn't reach. And obviously we know there was no contact. But I think there's enough in the first criteria that it probably could have been awarded. But maybe the referees that were on duty on the day are saying, well, it didn't impact how the defender defended, if that makes sense. Rob has upgraded. Rob is no longer just a teacup. Rob is now also a tea titan. Huge versus Rob. The battle of the tea titans. Love it, love it. Big up to Rob. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very, very, very much to Rob. Absolutely love it. Big up. Thank you very much, Rob. Guys, you're now also going to have to bow when Rob enters the chat and when Huge enters the chat. So we're going to be like this now. When people come into the chat to all the titans. Love it, love it. So back to the high boot. Any action specifically raising the leg deemed dangerous to an opponent, even if contact is not made. If it's careless, like low danger, low speed, low or limited contact, that is just a free kick. If it's reckless, so limited or partial contact, medium speed, or presents a danger, it's a yellow card. Or excessive force, full contact, high speed, high danger, high point of contact, red card. Obviously that's not what happened because there was no contact. So I think probably the main thing that seems to maybe have decided, it was definitely a high boot, it was definitely above the waist, it was definitely near an opponent, and it definitely threatened injury. But it didn't stop the player defending the way normally they would from what I saw, and there was no actual contact. So I think it's probably one of those in the grey area. I still think it probably should have been disallowed, if I'm honest with you, based on this. It was so high and so close to his head. So I probably still would, but you're probably seeing the grey area maybe where the referee said, well, it didn't change how the defending was done and there was no actual contact. So maybe that's where they've fallen into. But just on the bicycle kick question that Sachin had yesterday. Bicycle kicks are often allowed even if high, provided they do not directly endanger an opponent in close proximity. And the thing is, normally when you're doing a bicycle kick in the football, your foot does not go near any of your opponents. Your opponent's head isn't there when you're doing a bicycle kick, which means, see this here, the criteria of near an opponent. Normally, you're not near the opponent when you're doing a bicycle kick, which is why bicycle kicks are okay. Because just the foot high by itself isn't enough. You need to be near an opponent, potentially threatening injury. During a bicycle kick, normally that's not the case. If you do a bicycle kick and your foot is near your opponent's head, then yeah, it can be disallowed. So just to bring that in, because it was a good question that Sachin had yesterday on why is a bicycle kick allowed but other things can be disallowed for high boot. So I thought it was interesting, and it was something that I didn't know the answer to, and I wanted to know and I wanted to look into it. So I did. That is the reason. It has to be above or at or above waist height, which it was, near an opponent, which it was, potentially threatening injury, which it was. But it didn't cause the player to flinch or avoid a header, and there was no actual contact. So it fell in the grey area, but bicycle kicks are okay because normally your foot isn't near the opponent, potentially threatening injury, which is where it falls out of it. So that is it. It was a really good question by Sachin, and it opened up a question I didn't know the answer to, and I wanted to know the answer and bring the answer to the teacups. I see Z is in the house and says, I think it's a legitimate goal. Z is straight in there, knows what we're talking about, bang into the chat. Love it. Harold is in the house. Welcome to the very lovely Harold. And Streets is here. Oh my goodness me. We have Streets in the house. Howdy to Streets. Streets, we haven't seen you in a little while, and so I have to give you a small update, okay? We now have 2 Tea Titans in our chat. We have Rob and we have Huge. We do have some lovely Teacup Party members who are quite wonderful. We have some members of the Mad Hatters Tea Party in the chat, but we have 2 Tea Titans, which means that we now must bow when Rob and Huge enter the chat, because they are the Titans. We have the Teacups, we have the Mad Hatters Tea Party members, and we have the wonderful Tea Titans. But it's lovely to have you back with us, and thank you very much. It was a big one hitting 500. We loved it. Welcome to Guess, who is incredibly late because she was shopping, which is unacceptable unless it was for tea. If it wasn't shopping for tea, it's going to be unacceptable. So we're going to have to wait until she tells us, was she buying tea? Or maybe baking goods that goes with tea, then we'll allow it. Other than that, unacceptable. What is Paige forgiven for? What has she done? This peasant going against the grain. Paige says, I have a bad back. I'm unable to bow. I love it. Oh, to be fair, Hughes, that's a great point. The 2 Titans of the chat are both United fans. The 2 Tea Titans are United fans. And I'll let you in on a little secret, because you haven't seen him yet. My dad is also a Tea Titan. And he is also a United fan. So I have 3 Tea Titan members. They're all United fans. So I'm just letting all the other fan bases know. You guys are wonderful teacups. You are beautiful guests at the Mad Hatters Tea Party. But 3 Tea Titans, and they're all United fans. I'm just saying. Guess groceries. But in the groceries, was there tea? Choppy says, I'm a United fan as well. We love it. And Streets is saying, my lord, when are we playing football? Not for another 6 years, it feels like, Streets. Not for another 6 years. Genuinely, thank God for other teams, because honestly, if I hadn't started this channel and I wasn't talking about other teams' football, I would genuinely be devastated. Because this is a long time. It's far too long. It's more than any football fan should have to cope with not playing football. Let me see. Shem is saying, Tea Titans are now starting to sound like a conspiracy. Favoritism, I tell you. Huge says, Titans of the Prem, Titans of the football Titans of this chat, and Titans of the cult for the greater good. Guess has a wonderful idea. Can we have a pay-per-view fight between the Titans and see who is the ruler? Which is wonderful. I'm pro the fight, but I am the ruler. Regardless, I am the ruler. Let me see. Yes, it is torture. Harold says, I do support Man United, but I'm very Norway-centric and follow Norwegian players in big leagues. And that is 100% fair. Yes, Lucky is saying, next Monday, we will move the ball. But guys, one more thing for us to talk about this morning. Other than the Tea Titans, other than the infighting, and can I just say, you're all wonderful. Whether you're a member, a subscriber, a chatter, a liker, whether you kind of mellow in the background and you don't dip into the madness fully, I appreciate absolutely every single person, whether you're a member or a subscriber or a chatter or you just watch the shows. It's all absolutely appreciated. If you watch even 1 minute of my content, it's so appreciated, and I appreciate everyone so absolutely equally, because even your time is priceless. So even if you're giving your time to me, that is more than enough, and I appreciate it very, very, very much. So I just want to make that clear. We do have a bit of fun in games. Obviously, everybody's fantastic, but I appreciate everybody 100%. Yes, dip your toes in the madness. But the last thing I want to talk about, because we kind of brushed over it yesterday in the match reaction, and so I just want to say, the fans that were locked out, there was a load of West Ham fans that left. They were 2-0 down and they left. Okay, they started going home, they'd had enough, they were disappointed, they were raging, they left. Okay, then in added time, in the 13 minutes it ended up being of added time, the comeback started, the 2-2, then the extra time, then the penalties. And a load of the West Ham fans that had left wanted to come back. And I showed you yesterday the picture of the West Ham fans outside the building, outside the stadium, trying to get back in. They were not allowed back in. Supposedly the reason they weren't allowed back in is for health and safety. I said at the time I assumed that was why. It makes sense, I understand it, but we have seen a trend. Obviously it's always been a bit of a thing where people leave kind of early, but there seems to be, it's happening more and more. We saw it in the Liverpool match where a load of the fans left really early, and then Szoboszlai was starting a row with the ones that didn't leave. It was a bad look. Chiesa had to come over and stop him and be like, bad, it's not good, stop doing it. But it does seem to be a trend kind of all fan bases where it's happening more and more, where fans are leaving the ground early. They're disgusted at the performances that their teams are putting in, and that is what happened. But it has started a whole sort of topic of fans who leave early versus fans who don't. Should they have been allowed back in, etc., etc. And so a big fan account of West Ham posted yesterday, and they're a big account. They've over 17,000 followers, which on X is pretty big. And they're called West Ham Fan Place. It is just a fan account. They don't have like an affiliation or anything. But they posted yesterday and they said, by the way, if you're one of the thousands who left the ground on 74 minutes, then got upset when you weren't allowed back in, it serves you right. You're there to support your football club, not turn your back on it when it ain't working out. We're better off without day trippers like that. Now, one of the replies, the top reply, is I'll leave when I like. It's my money. And I can understand both sides. So I want to put it to a poll, because I understand both sides of that. You can't just support your team when it's easy. You should be there to support them even when it's hard. I also understand the guy who says, it's my money. I've paid for the ticket. If I'm annoyed at the performance or the result and I want to leave, I will, and how dare you judge me? So I understand both. For me personally, I would like to think I would stay. But if I was in a huff and I thought, what is this dross? I mean, I can kind of understand the other side. So let me just do a poll, because I'm just curious, because this is an interesting one where you can see both sides. So let me just do the poll, guys. Anyone joins us now, it's just going to be me silently typing while you all chat to each other. This isn't the normal format of the show. I just need to concentrate. Okay, so I've tried to word that as best I can. But should fans leave matches early? No, support the team, or up to them, they pay for the ticket. So get your votes in there, people, because as I said, I can understand both sides of that. I know what I would like to think I would do. I don't know in the reality. And I think that's one of the things. We can all say, oh, well, I would do this or I would do that. It's very different when you're in the situation. I do also personally think there's a difference between 2-0 and 4-0. So, for example, for West Ham, it was 2-0. And while it was unlikely, at 76 minutes, at 2-0, so you've got at least 15 minutes left, plus whatever added time. Now, they didn't know it was going to be 11, but even if it was 4 or 5 minutes, you're looking at 20 minutes left in the match at 2-0. You can still come back with that. The Liverpool fans, you're 4-0 down to Manchester City. You're not coming back from that. So for me, it probably, and maybe I should have put this as an option, maybe it depends a little bit on the goal difference. So like 4-0 down to City, or 2-0 down to Leeds. If I'm 4-0 down to City in the 80th minute, I'm probably leaving. If I'm 2-0 down to Leeds and have 20 minutes to go, I'm probably staying. So it probably maybe depends on the situation as well. So maybe I've been a little bit unfair on you in the poll. But get your votes in anyway, because it is an interesting topic. And it's a personal preference as well. Like, I wouldn't judge anyone for either or. It's up to you, do you know what I mean? But it's an interesting choice to look at yourself and think, what would I do? Guest is saying, I can understand if people leave early if they have kids. But other than that, don't come crying and trying to get back in. Let me see. Rob says, agree with Guess. Choppy says, the miracle of Istanbul, Liverpool fans were leaving at half time and they couldn't get back in after Liverpool made it 3-3. Streets is saying West Ham and Leeds bring in cinema standards. Streets also says you have got to support your team unconditionally. And I suppose that's probably a fair point as well. It's not about do you believe that you can get back into the match. It's about staying there and supporting your team even when you know they can't. So maybe that's actually the point of the day. Maybe that is it, because actually that's made me change my mind. It's not about if you think you can get back into the match. It's about showing your team you support them even when you know they can't. That's great from Streets. Big up to you. I like that. I've changed my mind. I would, based on that, you're right. You should stay and you should show them, look, we have your back. Even when it's not working out, we've got you. I like that, Streets. Paige is saying it's difficult to say. I would love to think I'd be there through the good and the bad and the ugly, but if the performance pizzazzes you off, I can see why people walk. Flossie is saying, why is it scrolled? Come back to me, Flossie. Flossie was saying, I was at the Toon versus Arsenal when we were getting battered. Thousands left and we came back and got beat 4-3. Let me see. Aaron is in the house. Hello, lovely moonshine. Streets is saying it was only 2-0, not 3 or 4. Harold says you do not abandon your team. That is when they need you the most. And that's it. I think Streets and Harold coming in with the pearls of wisdom here. Streets and Harold coming in with the pearls of wisdom. I like that. Streets says nothing beats unconditional love. Guest is saying, I've never been to a football game, but I have never left a hockey game early. The players can't leave, so I don't leave. We're in it together. And I like that. I love this, guys. And you know what? I was thinking about it very logically. I was quite like, well, this makes sense. And in that scenario, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? With your points, I have genuinely changed my mind. And I'm not even being smart. I've genuinely changed my mind. You have pointed out something, a different point of view that I hadn't thought about. You're not just there to watch the match as a fan. You're there to support the team. What I can understand is if you feel like your team isn't fighting for you, because then the reason you're leaving is to show them we don't support this. We don't support this attitude, this way of playing. So that I can understand. But really, really good points from everyone. You're there to support your team in the good times and bad, and I like that. The players can't leave, so I'm not leaving. I'm in it with them. I like that. That's a good one from Guess as well. I love this, guys. I love it. Aaron says, I would have been out of that ground so fast on Saturday. Fans leaving is letting Liverpool know it isn't good enough. Voting with your feet does make a statement. And the thing is, that actually completely agrees with what the guys are saying. So the guys are saying, you know, you support your team no matter what, in good times and in bad. You know, you're there to show them you're in it together. But in the scenario where the fans feel like the players aren't in it with them, where the players aren't in it together, where the players actually are the ones, they're there in body but not in spirit, then I can understand where fans are going, well, do you know what? If you're not in it with us, if you the players are not in it with the fans, why should we support you? Why should we be here? So I can see that. I can completely see that. But I thought it was really, really interesting. And to be fair, I know Aaron has come in halfway through this. To be fair, we're talking about the West Ham fans that left and couldn't get back in for the comeback, but it does apply across the board because obviously so many Liverpool fans did leave. And as I said, Szoboszlai was rowing with the ones that actually stayed, which I just think it's mad. Why would you fall out with the ones that have stayed? And Aaron's saying, yeah, so in Liverpool's case, it's more about making a statement because you're not... you know, you're not happy with your clubs being run, you're not happy with your manager, you're not happy with the attitude of your players, and you're making that statement to them, rather than because you couldn't be bothered to watch it. It's about the showing them how you feel the only way you can. It's interesting, and obviously the two situations were very different, so that's interesting as well. Let me see. Well, that explains it all. I mean, we have all the votes and it's 50-50. It is exactly 50-50. So should the fans leave matches early? No, support the team. 50%. Up to them. They pay for the ticket. 50%. 50-50. Very, very, very interesting. And it's one of them. And as I said, for me, it's a case of, it's very personal. I think you do what feels right to you. I certainly wouldn't judge anyone one way or the other. I was more interested in kind of what would I do. So it's very interesting. Rob is saying it's a free country, up to them. Aaron was saying, I was sick of them showing Danny Dyer yesterday. Do you know what it was? I'm laughing because I had a thought. I never understood, right, why the NFL fans were so mad that Taylor Swift kept getting shown. I'm not necessarily a massive Taylor Swift fan. I like her music, but I'm not like a Swiftie as such. But I never really understood what the big issue was because, like, she can't control it. It's not up to her what they show. Like, she's not saying, please show me, please show me. But yesterday, when they kept showing Danny Dyer, I know Danny Dyer's enjoying it, and Danny Dyer this, and Danny Dyer that, I was like, I couldn't care less. I honestly couldn't care less. I don't need to see this man on my screen again. I want to see the football. Why are you showing me Danny Dyer? Unless he's going to come down and take a penalty, don't want to know. I literally don't care. And the thought occurred to me, this is how the NFL fans feel about Taylor Swift. It's not Danny Dyer's fault. He's not like, show me, put me on the camera. He's just there attending a match. He always attended, supporting a club he always supported. Obviously now there's a family link with the daughter and Jared Bowen, but I mean, it's not up to him, but it was very irritating. It was very irritating. You show the crowd in the matches, but they definitely showed him more and more and more and more. Like, I've seen the royal family attend some of the matches and not get shown as much as Danny Dyer was shown yesterday, really and truly. But yeah, I had a newfound understanding of the NFL fans yesterday. But yes, so Mama Flossie is saying big up the 50%ers. Streets is saying 50-50, just like the 2-2 scoreline yesterday. Is it a coincidence? Choppy says, after the World Cup final in 1958, the Swedes stayed after the match to applaud the Brazil team on their lap of honour. And you know what? Fair play. Fair play, because that's a lovely show of sportsmanship. It's what the sport really should be about. But honestly, I would probably be bitter. Although I don't know. I probably would begrudgingly maybe stay, but I wouldn't enjoy it. I'd stay but miserably. I'd clap half-heartedly maybe. But yeah, it's a great show of sportsmanship when you see that. Like, I saw the Japan fans, after they played England, they stayed and they cleaned up the stadium after the match. So they were after winning this match, and they stayed and they cleaned up the stadium. I thought that was nice as well. It's a nice touch. Let me see. What else? We're talking about Brad Pitt and Ray Winston. What a mix. Brad Pitt and Ray Winston. Yes, guess. Danny Dyer is the UK's answer to Taylor Swift. Sorry. Oh, that's a good one. That's done it. That's done it for me. That's done it for me. Harold, you know what? We might actually end up just doing a video on that, because I'll be quite frank, I think the term is overused. I'm at the point now where I just dislike the term. I don't like it. I'm saying fumbling now instead of bottling. I just find the term really irritating. But I find anything, do you know when anything is like overused, in your face, super duper popular? Like, see Game of Thrones, I refused to watch it for like years because everyone was raving about it. When everybody likes something, oh, it drives me mad. It winds me up. So I just don't like the word bottlers, literally now, because everybody's using it. I think it's overused. Same as the word agenda. See the word agenda, if it could be just banned from the English language, that would be fantastic, because most people using it don't actually know what it means. Like, an opinion is not an agenda. An opinion is not an agenda. For the people in the back, an opinion is not an agenda. Yeah, so that the word agenda gets me. I absolutely can't have it. The word bottling is now, it's on my list of words that I just absolutely can't stand. I actually did a video right near when I first started the channel. Guess and Flossie and Rob might remember this one. I did a video, and it was like all of the kind of terms that we use in football that don't actually mean anything. They literally lose meaning because, like, they're just so overused. Troll, rage bait, agenda, bottling, glazing. And Harold is saying, but sometimes the term is correct. Sometimes the term is correct factually, but it's so overused and it's used incorrectly so often that when it is used correctly, it still infuriates me, because it doesn't mean anything anymore. It is so overused and incorrectly used that it loses meaning. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It does my absolute head in. It really does irritate me. The words, if they're used correctly, are impactful. But because they're overused incorrectly, when somebody does use it correctly, it just falls among the dross. It really upsets me, because it's just people are just using the word wrong. The word agenda really gets on my goat. An opinion is not an agenda. It does my head in. Or like that, you're right, streets. You're just trolling. So somebody says something, you don't agree with their opinion. Oh, well, you're just trolling because you don't agree with me. Oh, well, you're just trolling. No, maybe I just have a different opinion to you. Now, there is trolling. There is rage bait. There is people who talk nonsense. But that doesn't mean every single time it's used, it's wrong. Really, Harold, you've opened a can of worms here. You've opened a can of worms. I could be here for another hour, really and truly, talking about how much I hate the word agenda. And that's not even what you asked about. You asked about bottling. But they're all in the same thing for me. Troll, rage bait, bottle, agenda. It's all just clickbait words. And as you said, Harold, sometimes the word is accurate. Sometimes it is correct. Sometimes teams bottle it. Sometimes people are rage baiting. Sometimes there is an agenda. But because they're so overused, the words lose meaning. It makes me sad. They're good words. People are ruining good words. Oh, streets, that's another one. It is what it is. It is what it is. Oh my God. Honestly. Yeah, huge. Lou has put a ban on the word agenda. Yes, sometimes it is correct, but the words just kill me. Aaron and Streets are on it now, guys. Are we ready for this? Aaron says, like the stream, guys, don't bottle it. Streets says, gotta love the banter though. Disingenuous. Do you know what? Disingenuous is a good word. Disingenuous. I was actually speaking to guests about this the other day. Some words are really fun to say. Some words are enjoyable to say. So I think disingenuous is a lovely word. It's a really lovely word. And I think it's actually a very good word because it describes a very specific thing. But you're right, Streets. Again, people use it in the wrong context. People misuse the word. And then because it gains traction, it's used in the wrong context. And it's just not, when people use words incorrectly, it bothers me. So like agenda and opinion are not the same. The two do not equate. They're not the same thing. Okay, an opinion is not an agenda. Calling someone disingenuous because you don't like their opinion, just because you don't agree with or don't like their opinion does not mean they're disingenuous. Their opinion might be cray-cray. Their opinion might be delulu. But if they genuinely believe it, that is not disingenuous, it's just crazy. So if, for example, at the start of the season, I said that I believed Manchester United would finish in the top 5, okay? We did a written prediction, it's there, I've got proof of it, dated. I said Man United would finish in the top 5, okay? People called me a little bit deluded, which I thought was fair enough at the time. I was correct, but I thought it was a bit deluded. So, if someone comes to me and says, that's really disingenuous, that is not the correct use of the word disingenuous. I genuinely thought United would finish in the top 5. Therefore, me saying it is not disingenuous. If you're going to use words, understand what they mean, please. And if you're not sure, ask someone. We will help you. Flossie says, I also hate the word kook. Another one I hate. It's just, but it's all, do you know what it is? It's all people just trying to annoy each other. It's all people trying to get under each other's skins. That is not what this is about. It's about football. It's about the love of the game. It's about being able to have a chat and different opinions without feeling the need to insult or belittle the opinion of the person who doesn't agree with you. Just because you don't agree with them does not mean they're rage baiting or it's disingenuous or it's... I can't. Harold, I hope you're pleased with yourself. I'm going to need a cup of tea after this to calm down. Oh, what does that word mean? Guess has put a word in the chat, which I'm assuming nobody else understands either. Yeah, kokum. Honestly, it's like, but you know what? I think that's very pantomime. I think you can tell when someone's genuinely annoyed and genuinely going at it, or when somebody's putting it on for the views, if you get what I mean. But yeah, I think some of it's a bit pantomime. Yeah, and see, that's it, huge. Like I don't feel like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, steam coming out of my ears. 100%, Paige. 100%. Oh, it means long johns. Yeah, maybe Harold knows. He has the best chance of the rest of us. Oh yes, serendipity is a good word. See how fun that is to say? Serendipity. It's such a fun word. They're really fun words. And yeah, like that's what Rob says. Kind of what Harold said earlier. These words can be used when they're genuinely appropriate. If you overuse them, you're abusing the word, you're losing the meaning. Choppy and Lucky have to head. But you know what, guys? That's actually we're done. We're done. I saw someone say the word waffling. We probably are waffling now at this point. We're at the waffle stage, lads. I'm gonna go and have a cup of tea and calm down and stop thinking about the word agenda. But thank you all very, very much for being here. You are all absolutely fantastic. A fantastic, fun stream. We've talked about a little bit of everything. And you know what we've done? We've had different opinions. We've disagreed. And none of us have accused each other of having agendas. Woohoo! We're unbelievable. We are the best. We are the best. The teacup parties at Teacup Castle are the best. Guys, I will be back at 7 p.m. this evening. Have a lovely rest of your day. You're all absolutely fantastic. None of you have agendas. You are all terrific teacups and tea titans. Get your comments in at the end of the stream. Put your comments of which words do you hate the most? Which are the worst words? And we'll make a list. Talk to you all later, folks. Have a good day. Smash a like if you haven't done so already.